Comcast.
Jelly berries makes me feel good. Know what else is interesting?
What the f, Universal? Did y'all get a bunch of 5-year-olds to write this part of the movie? It's 2023 and y'all are still stuck in the early 2000s. Fart jokes are not that funny anymore. They're literally the cheapest and laziest form of comedy imaginable. Grow up. Also, main character loses their siblings and or parental figures in a terrible car accident cliche. Yes, I know I sound like a debt right now, but come on, let's be real. How many times have you seen this scenario since Hollywood was first founded?
Why are we doing this? Because we have to.
A typical meeting between Disney's bigwigs after realizing making all of their movies woke is not how you attract an audience. It is at this moment when you realize the Terminator franchise is one step closer to becoming reality.
Yeah, thanks. I know it's my code, Cole, but she doesn't look confused. She looks demented.
Kinda like you? See to that a project like this was a good idea to begin with?
What in the name of ever-loving Christ is this?
I'm pretty sure that's your dad after he finally returned home with the milk. Maybe I'm capping. I don't know.
Kid, if you just give me a minute to explain.
Is this why you move your lab down here, Gemma? So you can keep secrets from me?
Asshole boss interrupts their employee multiple times before they're finally allowed to state their piece cliche.
Are we supposed to be worried about that? It's a ripoff.
You're right, Gemma. It is a ripoff. They do the exact same thing we do. And you know what else? They do it for half the price!
And you're not 100% wrong there. It's very disappointing that there are people in this world that are so lazy and so uncreative that they feel the need to copy and paste someone else's work just for the sake of profit. I'm looking at you, China, with your garbage knockoffs. Also, I highly do not recommend throwing an electronic device when you're upset. Depending on the make and model and the year it was released, you could be paying upwards of $200 just to get it working again. Also, dramatic wide shot of the city center cliche. Wow, 3 cliches in less than 10 minutes into this movie. We keep this up, you might break a new record or something. Gaining custody of a small child while having absolutely zero knowledge on how to take care of a small child. Cheap jump scare dog is cheap AF.
Could you please keep your dog on your side of the fence?
I just spent $80 on a shock collar.
Maybe try cranking it up a notch.
Or, I don't know, a standard leash? Second out, let me retract that last statement. I can always smell the 50+ PETA citations being delivered to my doorstep.
Those aren't toys. They're Aunt Gemma's collectibles. You're not supposed to play with them.
We could play with them. We can totally play with them.
Going against your own word in order to not make yourself look like the bad guy. Yeah, you can make the argument that Lydia is a therapist and may or may not work for DHR, but it's still hypocrisy. Remember, parents, if you and your children have a terrible relationship, even though you never talked down to them, abused them, or made them feel less than human, it may be because you both are spending a little bit too much time on your screen. No matter how many times you change the design of this toy's face, it's still gonna be ugly AF. Oh, so this is what artists mean when they say they're tired of AI-generated art.
Gem, get me a list of things I can say in a presentation that makes it sound like I know what I'm talking about.
I don't care who you are or what your status is in the world, I am setting this dialogue for being the literal basis of every single one of Joe Biden's speeches.
The new Model 3 generative android from Funky is a fully autonomous humanoid robot with features never before seen in the consumer market.
So literally every robot ever made in the mid-2010s to where we are now. Good to know.
How does the water get outside the glass?
That's a great question, Katie. It's actually caused by the difference in temperature outside the glass, which pulls moisture from the air.
Nerd!
Oh my god, Katie, you have to flush the toilet. It is not that hard.
Katie, flush the toilet. Katie, seriously, flush the toilet.
How old is Katie supposed to be anyway? 6 years old? 7? 8? No kid should have to be reminded this many times to flush the toilet before they leave out the bathroom. It should be basic muscle memory.
Yes, but let's not make a big deal out of it. Everything dies.
Will I die?
Foreshadowing. Also, I suppose there's only one way to answer this question.
Actually, let's just avoid this topic altogether. Your goal is to protect Katie from harm, both physical and emotional.
And this is where the fecal matter strikes the air circulation device. I completely agree with physical harm, seeing as pedophiles, serial killers, and sex offenders are all over the place in the US. But you want Katie to be completely safeguarded from emotional harm too? I'm not saying treat your kid like shit at every chance you get, but to some, emotional harm is how humans toughen up and prepare for whatever hell that life has to throw at us. You want your kid to end up like Dudley Dursley? Because this is totally how your kid ends up like Dudley Dursley.
Yes, Gemma. You are now my second primary user.
You could have just said secondary user, but okay. Also, while we're still on this topic, why don't we point out just how flawed Gemma's commands are? She tells M3GAN to protect Katie from both physical and emotional harm, but she never mentions anything about not attacking the people that are doing the harming unless it's absolutely necessary, which eventually leads to the murders of a dog, her boss, and a kid that's around the same age as Katie, as well as her 2 co-workers getting knocked the f*** out. It's a shame that Gemma didn't put all that into account before sending M3GAN into night-night mode. I don't know why, but I'm getting strong Dead Silence vibes right now. This woman, Celia, had $80 to spend on a shock collar, but she couldn't spend an extra $15 to get a leash in case the collar don't work out.
Her wound needs to be disinfected immediately.
No Sherlock. Or should I say, thanks, Captain Robotnik. This was my honest reaction when I found out The Last of Us was getting a TV adaptation, only to watch the entire first season and realize it's extra mid. Blah blah blah, corporate speeches, blah blah blah.
You should feel alone, or that your world has come apart.
Song. Also, you can try all you want, M3GAN, but you're no Beyonce.
That was not my intention.
And yet, that's what happened.
Whether you agree with me or not, this is more or less an average interaction between a detective and a deranged 30-something after he just killed his wife.
Let her go!
Things that the CinemaSins crew constantly tell Jeremy Scott whenever he brings up that college ex-girlfriend of his somehow makes it into the script. Also, if a machine ever were to say,
Are you sure?
right after I specifically told it to shut down, you best believe I will be grabbing my 12 gauge and blasting the shit out of it. And if you wonder why I would choose such a violent route to begin with, it's because America, yeah! Person A is unable to open a jar, while person B is able to open it up with significant ease cliche.
Brandon, honey, are you warm enough? Do you need your hat? F off, Holly.
Disrespecting your elders when they've done literally nothing to warrant this behavior. I'm sorry, but that's where these many sins. This kid completely forgets to turn on his brain when Katie says,
She's paired with me. She won't play with anyone else.
So what makes him think just because he picks up M3GAN off the ground, slams her back down on the ground, rips off one of her shoes, and smacks her in the f***ing face that's gonna make her immediately wake up? Also, his earlobe survives this. The driver of this car is either drunk or is texting and driving because there is no way they could see a whole child tumble down a hill onto the road and not even try to swerve out of the way.
I won't let anything harm you ever again.
Helicopter parents.
Bulletproof, nothing to lose. Fire away, fire away.
Do I even need to say it here? Ah, f it. I'ma say it anyway. Skip!
Do you see this pen?
Yeah, she's definitely not gonna remember that as time progresses.
I don't understand how she's capable of offending anyone, let alone murdering them.
Are you serious right now? You've literally worked at this toy company for God knows how long, even assisted Gemma with building a lifelike doll that's powered by AI, and it never once crossed your mind that this advanced technology will eventually find out what homicide is, let alone how to commit it. I mean, if we go back about 45 minutes or so, you can hear M3GAN say,
Calculating its vector representation. Death is the end of life. Holy shit. The total and permanent cessation of all vital functions.
So, once again, why are we pretending to be rookies when it comes to this stuff? You see how small M3GAN's arms are? How the f can this robot just toss around a 300-pound adult male like he's a deflated basketball? Oh god, not the TikTok dance. Anything but the TikTok dance. Who am I kidding? Go ahead and take out 3 cents. Even I'm not immune to the meme material.
I didn't kill anyone, Kurt. You did. Your boss despised you. Your peers treated you with contempt. And so you decided to get revenge.
Gaslighting. Between babysitting Katie and going on a murderous rampage, when did M3GAN have enough time to look up and practice Eminem's albums? A horror movie's not a horror movie until you have lights flickering whenever something bad is about to go down. Also, how badly did that glass f*** up her systems that's caused her to start walking like that girl from The Grudge? Now this movie thinks it's Spy Kids 3!
You ungrateful little bitch.
Hey, you watch your mouth around here. You don't cuss around these parts. What is wrong with you? Boomer emoji.
A short, sharp probe to the cerebral cortex would cause full body paralysis.
Ironic.
The robot on the countertop turns on right when Katie and Gemma leave out the house, able to sign that M3GAN is still alive somehow, even though her body is now inoperable. But I guess we won't find out until we get to the sequel. Pfft, sequel. Oh, for the love of God.
Yes, we're in charge. Me and my dad. We're in charge. And this outdated low-tech submarine will self-destruct in 30 seconds.